Let's be real. Currency values are just the global economy's version of high school cliques, where the US dollar is that obnoxious quarterback who still wears his varsity jacket to Applebee's. The euro is the pretentious art kid who thinks it's deep to smoke Gauloise, and the Venezuelan believer is the kid who keeps getting suspended for eating glue in the back of class. Some currencies are born on third base, looking at you, Swiss franc, while others are stuck trying to bribe the lunch lady with IOUs, hello Zimbabwe dollar. The real question isn't why money has value. It's why we all agree that green pieces of paper controlled by a bunch of rich bankers should dictate whether you can afford rent or have to sell a kidney for an iPhone. Imagine if money had a high school yearbook. The US dollar would be voted most likely to start a war over oil. The British pound would be that washed-up former prom king still bragging about the empire, and the Japanese yen would be the quiet mathlete who somehow has all the answers but nobody invites to parties. Currency value isn't about actual worth. It's about perceived swagger. The dollar is top dog because petrodollar privilege. Oil trades in dollars, which means every country needs them, like your ex needs Instagram validation. Military backing. Nothing says, trust my money, like having enough nukes to turn the planet into a parking lot. Collective delusion. We've all just agreed the dollar matters, like how everyone pretended Tiger King was deep content. Meanwhile, the euro is that kid who swears they're different. We're a union now, but still gets into screaming matches with Greece over lunch money. And let's not even talk about the Venezuelan bolivar, which went from rich kid with oil money to dumpster diving for Bitcoin scraps. Faster than you can say hyperinflation. Wait, what? The Swiss franc is so stable that people literally stash it in underground bunkers. That's not currency. That's a doomsday prepper's love language. Exchange rates are just the financial version of high school gossip. One day, the Chinese yuan is the mysterious new kid who might dethrone the dollar. Spoiler, it won't. The next day, the Turkish lira is sobbing in the bathroom because inflation called it ugly. The Fed's interest rate decisions, that's the equivalent of the principal announcing a new dress code. Suddenly, everyone's scrambling to look cool before the next recession hits. Here's the thing. Currencies don't actually have real value. A dollar is just cotton and ink. Same way a Tesla is just a golf cart with a Twitter addiction. The only reason any of this works is because we've all collectively agreed to pretend it does. That's why $1 US or 155 Japanese yen, because Japan's economy runs on anime and existential dread. $1 US, Shoryuken 42,000 Iranian rials. Sanctions turned their money into monopoly cash. 1 Bitcoin, whatever Elon Musk tweets. Crypto isn't a currency, it's a MLM scheme with better memes. Let's talk about the real losers of the currency wars, the ones that flop harder than a Netflix live-action adaptation. The Zimbabwe dollar is the cautionary tale of what happens when you print so much money that trillion-dollar bills can't buy a loaf of bread. Yes, that happened. The Venezuelan bolivar went from funding oil-rich parties to being literally used as toilet paper. And the Weimar Republic mark? Let's just say Germans in 1923 burned cash for heat because it was cheaper than firewood. Here's why currencies crash and burn. Hyperinflation. When your government prints money like it's a frat party flyer. Debt defaults. When you owe so much that even the IMF blocks your number. Sanctions. When the US decides you're not invited to the economic sleepover. Wait, what? Moment. In 2009, Zimbabwe abolished its own currency and started using US dollars. That's not a monetary policy. That's surrendering your economy like a dropped Call of Duty match. The US dollar is the reigning champ of global finance, but even prom kings get dethroned. Usually, after a scandal involving stimulants and poor life choices. China's yuan is trying to be the next big thing, but it's about as threatening as a participation trophy. The euro? Still recovering from its 2008 emo phase. And Bitcoin? Please, it's less currency of the future and more beanie babies for tech bros. So next time you exchange money, remember, you're not just swapping cash. You're betting on which country's collective delusion will outlast the others. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go Venmo my landlord in a currency that actually holds value: tears.